Do you use StreamYard?
Usually Zoom,
Oh, Zoom.
but I use this as well with when I as a guest. So awesome.
Yeah. Well, and I love this. Hello, everyone. I am just checking to make sure we are live on the page. Let's see here. Yes, we're there. Yay. Okay.
Yay.
Super. And as you're getting on, you'll see that we're using StreamYard, and all you need to do is just accept. There's a little question thingy, accept, so you can write comments. We would love to have your interaction through this time. So I will give it just a minute to let some people jump on if they want to. Love to have you letting us know if this is a hashtag or a replay. I'll say hashtag replay. If you're watching on the replay, let us know when you're watching it, and you share with us stuff that you learn as you're watching. I am thrilled that my new friend Lisa Khera was able to join us today. It's so funny. Also with StreamYard, I'm never sure where to look. Now I'm looking, okay, there's the green dot. The green dot. I have connected with Lisa because she actually popped, I don't know if you knew this, Lisa, but you popped up on one of those maybe suggestions from Facebook. And I was like, oh, look at this girl. She looks awesome. Look at the thing she's doing. So I just thought, oh, I think I need to connect with her. And the more I did, and the more I looked at your stories, at your Facebook page, and the things that you're doing, and how you're serving people and helping people heal in so many different ways, I just thought, okay, I gotta have this woman on, and I gotta have her in my life. So welcome to you, Lisa. This is our group, Make Today More with Amy Pro. And as I was just telling you before we went on camera, my desire is to provide resources for businesswomen in the online space, because we're all needing to pivot with these crazy days. And you have got kind of the whole spectrum of the story. So I would love for you to just dive in, tell us your background, tell us your story, how you came into the online space, and what you're doing with it right now.
Definitely. Well, thank you, Amy, so much for having me on. It was so great to connect with you on Facebook as well. I love how it allows people to come together and, collaborate and things like that. So thanks so much for having me on. So yes, I'm the owner of Imbalance Pilates, and I've had the studio for 14 years. And I'd had the studio, it was a brick and mortar studio. So where I had group classes, private, semi-privates, all of the mat work, but then all of the Pilates equipment as well. So lots of fun. I'm also a mom of 2 boys, and wife, so busy making all that stuff work. And I had had a concussion. So at the time, I'd taken some time off from seeing clients, and eventually I was going to downsize it, but I eventually did end up moving the studio to my home. So closed the brick and mortar, have a home studio. And in the meantime, I got to kind of take my career path on a pretty fun, cool new path at the time, which was co-authoring a book. So I was part of the book called Women Who Inspire. And it was just knowing I was going to be downsizing my first baby, because having a brick and mortar and building any type of business, whether it's online, brick and mortar, when you pour so much heart and soul in it, it is, like your first baby. So knowing I was going to have to close those doors, because after a concussion, there's a lot of symptoms. If symptoms do linger, things with headaches and memory issues and cognitive issues, vision issues. So many things were affected trying to manage group classes. I still did do some one-on-one teaching, but I knew at that point I wasn't going to continue to have a brick and mortar. So bringing things more online was exactly what I wanted to do. And then being able to look on the bright side of having a concussion, it definitely forced me to have to open new doors and close certain doors. So yeah, when I got presented the opportunity of potentially co-authoring this book, I knew it was something I really wanted to go for. So if any of your clients and community that are listening that are thinking of, taking on maybe writing their own book or doing a collaboration, I would definitely highly say go for it. It brought on, as I said, so many new opportunities with different speaking engagements, TV guest appearances, things like that. So it really did, open up a lot of new doors. And as I said, knowing that I was going to be closing the brick and mortar, it was really cool to have some new avenues to go down. And then actually from a lot of those speaking engagements, that's where I was easily able to take that content that I had used in speeches and things like that and repurpose that into some online courses. So I do have one course that's for people that have had post-concussion. So there are some Pilates downloads, meditations, mindset exercises. I'm happy to say that I'm like 95% better now. So kind of a toolbox of all the things that worked for me. I was able to turn that into an online course. And as I said, they always talk about repurposing your content, doing one thing on one platform and chunking it out and repurposing it. And yes, that's definitely one tip that's really helped me. Another really important thing is we're always mindful of what platforms we use, but knowing that we don't own any of these, but we do own our own email list. So if you don't yet have your clients and customers and new leads and prospects, people that you're having relationships with and connections with, making sure that you're getting those people in your database on an email list. That's really super important. And then nurturing those people. So, reaching out depending on how often you want to get in touch with your email list, whether it's, to give them tips and tools to use based on the products that you're selling or services that you're selling. That's definitely key, right? So being able to be in touch, be top of mind, whether you have a brick and mortar or online business, and whether you're representing someone else's product or it's all your own, you really want to utilize those connections of people that you already have in your network. That's huge. So there was definitely different times over the time that I was off from my Pilates clients where I did utilize diving into online workshops. And I find so many times whether you have a yoga studio or a Pilates studio or a gift shop or any type of store, you can get so caught up with the day-to-day, showing up to be an instructor, but then there's so many other back-end things to learn about business. And, if you haven't scheduled out that time to keep learning, we can really, get sucked into maybe not utilizing our time the best, most wisely. So on that time, do you do that? So on that time that I was off from clients, I was really able to dive into, okay, what kind of business things do I want to learn here? So that's where I was really able to get more into email marketing and having those freebies and those opt-ins, having a landing page, directing people to whatever it is you want to further teach them or guide them to, what tools. Right now, one of my freebies that I have is called Gratitude, Goals, Pilates, and Posture. So it's just about how to really get focused on your daily gratitudes, focusing on your goals. Sometimes we don't realize how much tension we can take in the neck and shoulders. So and especially if you're adding more hours on your computer, maybe you were going to an office where everything was set up really well ergonomically, but now you're at home and you're trying to do it at your kitchen table or from your couch, being really mindful of what position your body's in during the day. And therefore, if you're getting tension in your neck and shoulders, is it because you're tensing your shoulders up by your ears? Is it because you're just sitting with really forward head posture? So just having, without having to totally be an anatomy lover, just getting into, okay, how can I fix my posture in that daily times when it's feeling a little bit you're taking any tension or any discomfort in any of your muscles in your low back. So looking at, easy ways to just find neutral and find the most optimal posture for you. So that's something that's in that freebie. And then from the concussion time, I found, once we got into COVID here and, things closing down, as I said, had my Pilates studio at my home. So here again, I was suddenly faced with studios going to close, because before, back in 2017, it was due to a head injury. I then closed my business, moved it to my house. So now here we are in March with all the sudden closures. Again, I kind of went right to my toolbox of, okay, how do we not get down in the dumps? Because, when you're suddenly forced to pivot and change, you do need to be mindful of your mental health and just self-care. So I was kind of, went back to those tools that had worked before, which were all the self-care things, being mindful of meditation and movement and breathing exercises and where your body's taking tension. So doing those Pilates or posture exercises. And then, of course, from that, I had created another online program called Breathe into Calm. And that's just, breathing exercises, visualizations, and posture exercises to, again, something that you can do at home, online, and something that's just going to really help. It's helping my clients go from that chaos feeling to calm. So especially now, with suddenly we were maybe homeschooling all of a sudden, everyone's at home working from home.
Yeah.
I wish you luck this year as
thank you.
Head back.
How old are your boys?
7 and 9, almost 9. So grade 2 and grade 4, and they are at a French school, and I haven't taken French since high school. So there was a lot of Google Translate last year. Let me check that. How do I say that in French? But we got through it. And this year I'm only looking on the bright side that things will be even more organized, because how could it have been, it was organized last year, but it'll be even more organized, I'm assuming. We're looking on the bright side.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
Choosing all the joy, choosing all the goal setting, positive.
Yeah. Well, and I'm thinking about all of the teachers and the administrators that could use the Breathe into Calm program.
Completely. You have to have those tools. And especially, sometimes in the moment, if you've got yourself worked up, you're feeling stressed, whether it's a deadline or whatever the case may be, sometimes in the moment, you're not remembering those go-to things. But if you make it a daily habit, a daily practice of just getting yourself calm and centered and grounded, you'll know which ones work best for you. And then, you can go to that when whether you're feeling body tension or stress in the mind, or rushed, or you're at the grocery store and you're feeling stressed out about the arrows or whatever it is, right?
You're not going the right direction.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's so important. Yeah. It's so important to have those tools.
Yeah.
But so diving into, knowing what makes you feel productive and positive, what things help you with any stress response, and how you can calm yourself down, realizing what's worked in the past and learning to recreate that so you can stay.
Well, I like what you just said about it. When you are making it a daily practice, then when those times come up, those major stress times, the panic times, you've already got that habit, that internal habit of knowing how to, okay, I recognize what's going on, and this is my strategy. I love that. Because I was just thinking a lot. I've gone through the last few weeks, I've just been hit with just a ton of grief. And I was trying to figure out why, because there wasn't any activating event, but a Facebook video, a live video that I did last year at this time popped up a couple days ago. And it was, I had a family member die. I had 2 school classmates from high school that I wasn't close to, but totally unrelated, but they died. And the principal of my children's school, even though we're not in that school anymore, she was a very significant person in their lives. She died too, all within a 2 years.
Okay.
And it renewed some grief of loss that I've had in my life and stuff. But it was just like, it was almost like my body was going through that again. And I was like, where did this come from? Because like I said, there wasn't a triggering event.
Mm-hmm.
But having those kinds of coping strategies of recognizing it and going, oh, it's because it's taken me, even though I've been through a million years of counseling and, you know, I've got these coping strategies, but I don't do the daily, just like you're talking about. And so it took me a while to kind of step back, observe what was happening, and then incorporate those strategies, those calming strategies or whatever. So yeah, that's a really great point. Man, you have so many good points.
And just, you know, taking that time to be mindful of how you're feeling on a daily basis, so that you did know that when you were starting to feel a little bit off, you know, you have that mindfulness to understand, okay, what's going on? Maybe I have to look into this a bit more, give myself a bit more care and grace. Whereas if you're just go, and you never take that time to really check in with yourself, you wouldn't necessarily know that it was a time that you need to pull back and apply some more self-care things. So it all works together. It works together the way we need it to.
Yeah, that is so great. That is so brilliant. So tell me more about, so you're taking it. I love those things. And I'm writing like all these notes down here. So you've got all these different almost streams of, or like you were calling them outlets, book. Now, how did you get the book thing going? How did that work?
So completely Facebook. So the way we have met, completely Facebook. I had my publisher, Kate Butler, I'd had her first book called Women Who Ignite, which was another collaboration book. So I had that book, and I just happened to see a post saying that she was looking for authors for the next book in the series, which is called Women Who Inspire. Completely head injured at the time, but I saw the post and decided to kind of write her a pitch and fill out an application, and got an interview call, and then got offered a spot. So that's how that went down. And then there was so much fun learning just with the whole book process. So there's also a course that goes along with it on how to become a best-selling author, and then a lot of things with just around launching the book. So different social media and sales things in that way, in that regard. So that was a lot of fun, kept me focused and busy on, you know, learning new things that way. And that's definitely, so at the same time, so I went through all that. It was fantastic. Lots of fun, like book signings and things that have come from out of that. So again, highly recommend it. There's so many ways you can use it just to kind of stay that top of mind expert in whatever you're teaching about. Mm-hmm. And, you know, meeting a whole new community of people that are going for their goals as well, which it's so important to stay surrounded by people that are, you know, have goals and that are working towards, you know, whether it's your online business or whatnot. Really important to stay supported with like-minded people. And then at this point, I also run a YouTube channel called Concussions Anonymous with a colleague of mine, Karen Monet. So we have that going. As I said, some of the online courses that I run as well for people with post-concussion, and then people, whether it's Pilates related, or maybe you're working through an injury and you want more of just the breathing exercises and visualization. That's the Breathe into Calm. But yeah, learning to, you know, repurpose your stuff, use it on different platforms. I also run some feature interviews where, just like what you're doing, you know, getting to bring experts into my audience and my community, so that, you know, people can just really like let their gifts shine and collaborate. It's so important to get to know people and build relationships online and offline for sure. And just, you know, depending now with where you're living, if you're still mostly doing things online, it's such a good way to connect. And then, yes, the book definitely opened a lot more doors. Now, there's many ways to go about producing your own book. So whether you're self-publishing or going to a publisher, I'd mentioned the YouTube channel that I have, which is called Concussions Anonymous. And I'm still going through the process of interviewing people and things like that for an upcoming book where people can tell their own post-concussion healing story. So I found it so healing and such a great journey to go on just writing that collaboration book. And so it's something that I definitely want to offer to people that have had a concussion and gone through that. And so yeah, definitely get in touch with me if you know anyone that's had a concussion that might be thinking about looking for ways to share their story. It's so healing. Or if you yourself are thinking about, doing a collaboration book or your own book. So many ways nowadays to, if you have a website, have it in your shop on your website, any networking events that you're going to, things like that. But yeah, find what social media works for you and what lights you up, and just have fun with it, right? Have fun connecting with people and sharing your gifts and serving others.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so.
And don't be afraid to pivot, right? Don't be afraid to try new things. And like and you're with your network marketing business, trying things like that just light you up, and you meet so many new women and great community, and just, yeah, I'm sure you've met so many teammates and things like that.
It is. It's so true. And there's, because it is that, again, speaking of the collaborative, it's the collaborative effect of people who are drawn to a particular product or service or company or whatever because of the culture that's created there. And I loved this idea of your YouTube channel and then interviewing people to create your own collaborative work. I know several people in this group have their own niche or niche, where they are focusing, and they might not feel like the expert, but if you know 1% more than somebody, you're an expert to them.
Exactly. Yeah.
And how beautiful to give people a place to express their story, to tell their story, who might not otherwise, they wouldn't go to the whole thing of creating a book themselves or anything like that. But this gives them a platform to share their story. And that's really cool. You're giving me a lot of good ideas too.
Yeah. Oh, yes. We'll have to have more coffee dates and brainstorm for sure.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I know what we'll do is put in the comment section the link to your YouTube channel. We'll put in there, the best way to get in touch with you and all of that.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will close us off here, but just knowing that this conversation is going to continue, and I'm so excited. I just love who you are. I love how you are just bringing all of that to us, this little group of women you don't even know.
It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, and sharing that these tools that are so helpful for healing, and for bringing us all to a new place of impacting our world for good. And that's really one of my focus words is impact. So I really appreciate that, Lisa, and thank you so much for your time today. And I look forward to having more time with you.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Amy, for having me on.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Here we go. Oh.